Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm your host, Pam. With me tonight, I have my lovely co-host, Dawn. How you doing, Dawn?
I'm great. How are you, Pam?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm really excited for our guest tonight, so let's go ahead and bring him on. We have the wonderful, comedic, and also can be in scary movies, actor, Jody Thompson. Welcome, Jody.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. So I guess we'll get right down to it because the scary movie happens to be The Bay, and I watched the trailer. I haven't seen the movie yet, going to, but I'll do it through fingers. How did you end up getting that part?
My agent in Atlanta, actually, we put it on tape, the audition. I'd kind of forgotten about auditioning for it, and a few weeks later I got a call that I got the part. But really, when I got the part, I didn't realize that Barry Levinson was attached to it, so I just was kind of like, it's just another movie, so I really didn't think much about it.
Yeah. Well, I know that it's produced by the same producers for Paranormal 2 and Insidious, so I can see why, this movie is the same theme of being scary. And did you watch it when it came out?
I actually went to New York. They had a premiere up at the New York Film Festival, so it was cool to get to see it for the first time here in the States with a live audience. And yeah, there was a bunch of jumping going on, so it was really, really pretty awesome.
I can imagine just from the trailer alone. I'm going, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff in this film, so you're definitely going to want to check this out.
So when they opened up the fish's mouth and
yeah, that little creature, it's actually a real creature. They're called Isopods, and they're in the ocean, and they can grow up to 2 feet sometimes. So pretty creepy. So that's not a made-up creature. And I think in the movie, actually, Barry shows a picture of one of the Isopods, a huge creature. I believe this one was trying to eat its way through the bottom of a boat. And,
oh my gosh!
But that was a real photo, so it's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's another reason for me not to go in the ocean. First it was Jaws. I'm dating myself now, and now Isopods.
Yeah, Jaws, they said Jaws made you afraid to go into the water, and they say this movie just makes you afraid of water, period. So that's
right.
That's kind of crazy.
And as you're talking about it, I'm like Googling, and Pam, don't Google it. That's all I'm going to tell you. It is the most creepy, disgusting thing I've ever seen. And for you to confirm that they live in the ocean, that this is real, that just makes the movie even more, freakish all the way around.
Well, now the movie's supposed to take place in Maryland, but we actually shot the film. Now, Dom, where did you say you were from? You're from which Carolina?
North Carolina.
Okay, so Georgetown. Where's George? I think Georgetown's maybe South Carolina, but
yes,
it's close to Myrtle Beach.
It is. It's down below Myrtle in South Carolina.
So we actually shot the film in Georgetown, South Carolina, and there's actually a scene in the film. I think it's in the trailer where they open up a fish's mouth and put a camera down in there, and you see these little creatures inside the fish crawling. That is a real fish that they pulled out of the bay. There's no special effects. They pulled that out of the bay that was there in North Carolina, and just stuck a camera down there. And yeah, it's good times had by all after they saw that. So
now, did anybody have the creepy crawlies after seeing that this was a real thing?
Well, yeah. The whole premise behind the movie is, there's 85% of this that is really fact-based, and now the size of those are probably a little bit bigger than most of the actual ones. But the premise behind the movie is that there's a factory that has chickens, and they're dumping the chicken excrement into the bay, and then these creatures are feeding on the excrement and basically getting larger than they should be.
Okay.
And then these creatures get inside the fish, and when the people of the town eat the fish, I think we know what happens.
Yeah.
They didn't
I
stop
saw
the
the
people.
guy's stomach. I saw the guy's stomach in that trailer.
It was good. So you guys are up for some Red Lobster after this?
Oh, yeah, right.
What was that you were saying before we went live, Pam, about where is the wine? I think we're going to need it if we're going to partake. Oh, my gosh. That's just, I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
The neat thing about this film is that leads or lends to the believability of it is that Barry is using all kinds of different cameras also. So he'll use stuff that you use in your everyday life, like there's an iPhone cam, there's Skype cameras, there's, in my case, there's a police dashboard camera. So they blend all these different mediums together to tell a pretty convincing story. And that's what makes it a little bit extra scarier. Maybe if it were on the big screen, something you're used to seeing, you can kind of separate fact from fiction. But in this case, it hits pretty hard when you're seeing it on these mediums that you're familiar with.
Right, exactly. Wow. Well, I'm sure that there's going to be many, many, many fans that will love watching that movie because there's a lot of people out there that like to be scared. And that's why all these movies are such big hits.
Definitely. This is, like I say, this is one. There's about 4 or 5 different moments in this film where I can pretty much guarantee you will jump up out of your seat. So.
Well, and now that you've told me where it was filmed, I'm going to tell you now that I'm going to really look at Myrtle Beach and that whole area of the beach completely differently now when I go in the future. So thank you.
Yeah. Let's hope that the Myrtle Beach Tourism Board doesn't come after us.
Yeah. The Isopods just need to stay
Myrtle Beach is wonderful. You guys go. It's fantastic. The most wonderful place on earth. Go ahead
I love
and go.
it. It's my favorite beach to go to because you can go any time of year and there's still plenty to do. You know, it's not just strictly beach. So it's wonderful. I love it. So yeah, well, that's really cool that, you let us know where it was actually filmed. Georgetown is, I've never actually been there, but I hear it's just a quaint little town, and it is. It's a nice place. So
it's a beautiful town, and they were the people were very gracious and pretty much just allowed us to come in and take over the whole town. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what kind of homework do you do for your roles?
Well, first of all, I find out what my character is, what it is that I'm playing. This one that happened to be a police officer, but obviously most police officers don't encounter these little creatures.
Right.
But in this film, I pretty much the whole idea behind this film is no one really knows what's going on. No one in the town has a clue as to why these people are dying. They just know people are falling down dead in the street. So it's not too hard to act when you have so these makeup people did some fantastic job. So when I'm sitting down looking at a person who's been fished out of the water and half their tongue is missing, I don't really have to act. I do pretty much what you just did.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, no, what is that? So.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know.
But you
most
a
of the
quick
time,
learner when it comes to studying your lines?
I think I'm pretty good, but I like to take a little bit of time. There's been a few occasions when I go in and I'll read for a part, and they ask me to read.
Or do them alone?
Excuse me?
Do you practice with someone when you're running lines?
I prefer to do it by myself.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I don't like listening to any other actors around me because then the way they deliver their lines gets in your head, and you start second guessing yourself. And I just want to do it the way that I have it visioned in my head. And so, I try and keep the process all to myself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes you could maybe, when you're practicing with somebody, take on their part of the role without realizing you're doing it. So it's good, I guess, to do it that way.
Yeah, most of the time I just do acting or rehearsing the lines with myself. Or if I do have someone read with me, I prefer having a non-actor read with me, just because they really don't put in that much emotion or anything into the scene. It makes it a lot easier for me to just focus on my part and the emotions that I want to bring out.
That's understandable. I mean, I'm not even an actor, and I can understand what you're saying on that. In Sweet Home Alabama, when you got up and you said your line, you saluted and fell back down, I thought that was so hysterical in that part of the movie. You played in a lot of comedies, Parental Guidance and Butter, Soul Men, what else, Meet the Browns and more. Do you feel that comedy is your forte?
Oh, definitely. It's something I'm comfortable with. I feel the most confident with. I've done a lot of commercials, and when you have a background in doing commercial acting, a lot of the times, I would say 85% of the commercials I audition for are comedy-based. And most of the time, the script is so loose on a commercial that when you go in there, I just go totally off script and do the craziest thing I can think of. So it's basically you're just improvising. So that's what I like to do, and I still like to bring that into my film acting and television acting. I always try to add a little something different that I think I can get in there if the scene is a comical scene.
Right,
if it's serious, if it's more serious, I stick more to the script.
Now, I read, too, that you met up, because you acted with Billy Crystal, but also he did, like, an improv for you when you met up with him.
Fantastic. I was shooting this movie last year. It's probably last year around this time. And just you're on set, you have downtime, you're talking with each other. And we started talking about him hosting the Academy Awards. And I would bring up something, and he would just go into the entire bit that he had done on the Academy Awards. It was awesome. We started talking about The Princess Bride, which is one of my favorite movies, and he started telling all the stories that happened on set, and he's going into the voice. He was a little Jewish man in that, and it was just it was awesome. Well, what was really great about and kind of surreal is that we're talking about the Academy Awards, and at the time we were talking, Eddie Murphy was slated to host last year's Academy Awards. Well, about a week later, Eddie dropped out, and they called Billy Crystal to host the Academy Awards. So last year, Billy Crystal got to host the Academy Awards, and we found out probably a week after I was talking to him about the Academy Awards.
Isn't that something?
So what I'm trying to say is I'm responsible for Billy Crystal hosting the Academy Awards.
I was going to say he had to give you credit for that.
Of course. You guys know this, so.
Yeah.
But it was really just kind of surreal and fantastic.